My name is Zubair, and before we start tonight, I need you to do something for me. Put your phone down for just a second. Look around the room you are sitting in right now. Every corner, every shadow behind you. Good. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you actually checked? Because the 5 people you are about to hear from tonight, they stopped checking. And that is exactly when it started. Hit that bell so you never miss a story. Share this with someone brave enough to listen. Now turn the lights down and let's begin. You know that feeling when you wake up at 3 in the morning and you just know something is different? Not a sound, not a smell, just a feeling deep in your chest, like your body figured something out before your brain did. My name is James, and I want to tell you about the apartment I lived in Denver 2 years ago. 3rd floor, corner unit, 1 bedroom, nothing special. The kind of place a 26-year-old gets when he finally moves out on his own and just wants something cheap and close to work. The wall on the left side of my bedroom, shared with the apartment next door. Unit 3B. I never met whoever lived there. Never heard much either. Occasionally footsteps. Sometimes a TV late at night. Normal stuff. Until November. I woke up one night, no idea what time it was, to a sound coming from that wall. Tapping. Slow. Soft. Rhythmic. Like someone tapping 3 fingers against the other side of the drywall. Patient. Unhurried. Like they had been doing it for a while and were perfectly happy to keep going. I lay there and listened for maybe 5 minutes. Told myself it was pipes. Old buildings in Denver get cold in November, and the pipes, they make all kinds of sounds. I went back to sleep. 2 nights later, same thing. Except this time, when I sat up in bed and held my breath and really listened, the tapping changed. It started moving, slowly, along the wall, from the far corner of my bedroom toward the head of my bed. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. Pause. Getting closer, inch by inch, like something was tracking exactly where I was lying. It stopped right behind my headboard. I did not sleep the rest of that night. In the morning, I went to the building manager and asked about the tenant in 3B. She looked at her computer for a long moment. Then she said, "Unit 3B has been vacant since August." 3 months. Empty. I asked her to double-check. She did. Still vacant. I went back upstairs, stood in the hallway outside 3B, put my ear against the door. Silence. I went back to my apartment, stood in my bedroom, put my hand flat against the shared wall. Cold. Way colder than the rest of the room. Like pressing your palm against a window in January. That night, I pushed my bed to the opposite wall, slept as far from that shared wall as I possibly could. The tapping started again at 2 a.m., but this time, it was coming from the new wall, the one I had moved toward. Still 3 taps. Still slow. Still patient. Still moving toward where I was lying. I called my brother that morning, asked if I could stay at his place for a few days. He said sure, and did not ask why. Brothers are good like that. I packed a bag and left. Came back 4 days later, hoping it had stopped. First night back, 2 a.m., 3 taps from the wall. I broke my lease the following week. I never told the building manager why. I just paid the fee and left. Sometimes I wonder about whoever moved in after me, whether they hear it too, whether they lie there in the dark, counting those 3 taps and trying to figure out what's on the other side of the wall. I hope they never find out. Lord, I have been carrying this story for almost 8 years now, and I think it is time to finally let it out. My name is Darnell. I grew up in New Orleans, and what I'm about to tell you happened in the house I grew up in, on the east side of the city. My grandmother lived with us my whole life. She had the bedroom at the end of the hall. Sweet woman, sharp as a tack until the very end. She passed away in that bedroom when I was 19. Natural causes. Peaceful. She just went to sleep one night and did not wake up. We grieved. We healed. Life moved on. About 3 months after she passed, my little sister came to breakfast one morning and said completely casually, "Grandma came to see me last night." My mother put her coffee down very slowly. My sister was 10 years old. She said Grandma had come into her room in the middle of the night, sat on the edge of her bed, patted her hand, told her not to be sad. We told her it was a dream. Beautiful dream. Grandma loved her so much, it carried over even now. My sister shook her head very seriously and said, it was not a dream. She was wearing her blue housecoat. My grandmother had been buried in her blue housecoat. Nobody had told my sister that. We were all quiet for a very long time at that breakfast table. It happened 4 more times over the next 2 months. Always my sister's room. Always in the night. Always the same blue housecoat. My sister was never afraid. Said Grandma just sat with her for a while and then left. The 5th time, my sister came to breakfast and said Grandma told her she would not be coming back after this. Said she just needed to make sure everyone was going to be okay before she could go. My mother started crying right there at the table. My sister reached across and patted her hand, exactly the way my grandmother used to do. She said, Grandma said tell Mama she knows she kept her promise. My mother completely broke down. There was a promise between them that nobody else in the family knew about. Not me, not my father, not anyone. Only my grandmother and my mother knew. My sister had never been told. After that morning, Grandma never came back. My sister never mentioned seeing her again. And my mother, for the first time since the funeral, finally seemed at peace. I do not know what to call what happened. I do not know how to explain it. But I know what I believe. I believe she came back to make sure we were going to be all right. And I believe, when she was sure, she finally let herself rest. Okay, so this one I have told exactly twice in my entire life. Once to my best friend who was there when it happened, and once to my wife on the night before our wedding, because I felt like she deserved to know what kind of person she was marrying. My name is Brandon. This happened when I was 15. Small town in Ohio. The kind of town where everybody knows everybody, and the biggest excitement is Friday night football. Behind our school, there was a stretch of woods, maybe half a mile deep, before you hit farmland on the other side. Kids would go back there to hang out. Nothing unusual about it. We had been going in those woods since we were in elementary school. But there was a spot, maybe 200 yards in, where nobody ever went past. Not because anyone told us not to. Nobody said anything. It was just one of those things that every kid in town seemed to know without being told. You went to the big rock. You hung out around the big rock. And you did not go further than the big rock. I never questioned it until I was 15, and Danny Martinez dared me to walk past the rock. It was a Friday afternoon. Group of us out there after school. Danny said he would give me $20 if I walked 50 feet past the rock and came back. I said sure. $20 was $20. I walked past the rock. The first thing I noticed was that it got quieter. Not gradually, immediately, like I had stepped through an invisible wall. On the near side of the rock, you could hear birds and wind and the distant sound of traffic from the highway. On the far side, nothing. Complete silence. The second thing I noticed was the smell. Hard to describe. Like turned earth after heavy rain, but with something else underneath it. Something that made the back of my throat tighten. I counted my 50 feet, turned around, and saw something standing between me and the rock. Not an animal, not a person. Something I have never been able to describe accurately enough to make anyone truly understand. Tall, very still, standing exactly between me and where I needed to go to get back. I did not run. I think my body was too scared to run. I just stood there, completely frozen, looking at it. And then, very slowly, it stepped to the side, off the path, like it was letting me through. I walked past it as fast as I could without running, did not look at it as I passed, got back past the rock, got back to my friends. Danny asked if I was okay, said I looked like I had seen a ghost. I never collected the $20. I never went back past that rock again. None of us did after that day. Not because anyone said anything, but because something in how I looked when I came back was enough. Some places have things living in them that are older than we are, older than the towns we build around them. And sometimes they let you pass, and you spend the rest of your life being grateful they did. I need to start by saying that I am not a person who believes in the supernatural. I am an accountant. I believe in numbers and facts and things that can be verified. I am telling you what happened because it happened, and I cannot explain it, and that is the honest truth. My name is Robert, and this happened 14 months ago. My father passed away on a Tuesday morning in Houston. Stroke. He was in the hospital for 3 days before he went. I was there for all of it, held his hand, said everything I needed to say. He was not alone when he left. I drove home after, exhausted, numb the way you get when grief is too big to feel all at once. I sat in my driveway for a long time before going inside. When I finally picked up my phone, I had a voicemail. Unknown number. Came in at 9:47 a.m. My father passed at 9:52 a.m. 5 minutes before he passed. I pressed play. Static at first. Long static. And then breathing, slow and familiar, in a way that made my chest tighten immediately. And then, my father's voice. Not weak the way it had been in the hospital. Strong. Clear. The voice I remembered from childhood. He said my name. Said, "I'm going to be okay, son. I need you to know that before I go." I am going to be okay. Then static. Then silence. I sat in that driveway for 2 hours. I have listened to that voicemail hundreds of times. I have had people try to explain it to me. Pocket dial, network glitch, audio pareidolia, someone who sounded like him. I have listened to it hundreds of times. It is his voice. I know my father's voice. It is him. And every time I hear it, I believe exactly what he told me. He is okay. Wait, before you think you already heard this one, you did not, because I am the person who bought that house. My name is Michelle, and I bought a house in Minneapolis about 14 months ago. Previous owner said one thing as he handed me the keys. Keep the basement door latched. I laughed. I thought it was one of those quirky old house things, like do not let the third stair creak or the kitchen window sticks in summer. The house was beautiful, old, full of character. I loved it immediately. First 2 weeks? Perfect. Third week, I noticed the basement door was unlatched one morning. I clearly remembered latching it the night before. I was certain of it. But there it was, standing open just a crack. I latched it, did not think much of it. It happened again 2 days later, then again. Every few days I would come downstairs in the morning and the basement door would be open. Just a little, never wide, always just a crack. I checked the latch, perfectly functional. No reason for it to come undone on its own. Then one night I woke up at 2 a.m. to the sound of the door opening. I heard it clearly from my bedroom. That distinct sound of the latch releasing and the door swinging gently on its hinges. I lay completely still. And then I heard what came up from the basement. Humming. Soft. Tuneless. Patient. Moving up the stairs, one step at a time. Getting closer to the top. I turned on every light in my room, grabbed my phone, called 911, told them someone had broken into my house. Police arrived in 8 minutes, searched every inch of the house, including the basement. Nobody there. The officer asked if I had heard this before. I said no. He asked how long I had lived there. I said 3 weeks. He nodded slowly and said he was familiar with the address. I asked him what that meant. He said they had been called to that house 4 times in the past 6 years. Always the same complaint. Strange sounds from the basement. Always at night. Always the same description. Humming. I asked him what was in the basement. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Nothing we have ever been able to find, ma'am." He left. I sat on my couch until sunrise. I had a deadbolt installed on the basement door the next morning, a serious one, the kind with a key. The humming started again 2 nights later, made it to the top of the stairs, stopped at the deadbolt, and just waited. I moved out that weekend, lost my deposit, did not care. Some warnings come from strangers handing over keys. Some come too late. I got mine just in time.
If you have a horror story, something that happened to you, something you've never told anyone, we want to hear it. Drop it in the comments below. Or, if you want to share something more personal, check the form in the description. Tell us what happened. Your story could be our next video. Until next time, stay safe. And whatever you do, don't look behind you.